Hello, and welcome to episode 5 of our series. So, in the last episode, we talked about tables and how to make them. And we're going to learn a lot more HTML as the series goes on. But now, let's focus on the second part of our series, the CSS part. Well, so what is CSS? CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets. It allows us to add style to our web pages. So you can think of HTML as the skeleton of our web page and CSS as what makes it pretty, what makes it more artistic and nice and pleasing to the eye. It's really important to integrate CSS into your web pages so that your web page or your website will look more aesthetic. It's very important for anyone looking to be a web designer. Okay, so let's get started. First, what we're going to do is we are going to open up both our index.html and our desserts.html. Okay, so we have this, and then I'm just going to drag and drop desserts into Sublime. And before we do anything else, we are going to make a CSS file. That file is where our CSS will be, and then we can link that file to other parts of our site. Okay, so file, new file, and now I'm going to save this, Control S, or Command S, and I'm going to call this style.css. So this is where all of our CSS code will be, saved in the same folder as desserts.html and index.html. Save, and ignore that. Now we need to link this file to our web pages, or no CSS will be integrated to these web pages. So we will be typing in the exact same line on both files. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a link tag. This is called the link tag, and this tag will allow us to link to the CSS. This will have three important attributes, so follow along closely. First is the relation attribute. What we are linking here is a style sheet. So the relationship is called style sheet. Second is called the type attribute. And the type of the file we are linking is CSS, or as expressed here, text/CSS. And finally, we are going to be revisiting our href attribute from when we were talking about the link tags. And since our file is named style.css and it's in the same directory as this, we're just going to type in style.css. Close it, and you don't need a closing tag for this one. Now we're just going to select this, copy, go to desserts.html, and copy again. Be sure that when you follow along, you put the link in the head section of the web page. So let's change the background color of our web pages. It's a boring white right now. Let's change it up. So here's the general format of each CSS rule. This block right here that will be filled in with more things, this is called a rule. This is what the rule applies to. So in this case, we're changing the background color, right? So we want to have body being the subject of our rule. And then in here, we're going to write what we want to change in this part. So the parts of the body, we want to change the background color. And Sublime Text has this autocomplete for you. So I want to change background color. This is called a property right here. What we want to change is called a property. So now, let's see, what's a good color? How about linen? Be sure to put a semicolon after each property. I'm going to save this, make sure everything is saved, and now let's open this up. And as you'll see, because I linked the CSS document to the HTML document, I have a new background color. The CSS is now integrated with this web page. And I did the same thing in desserts.html. So we have the same background color. More complex websites will have multiple style sheets that will be linked to different pages. So linking style sheets really, I think, in my opinion, is the best way to integrate CSS into your website. There are other ways of integrating CSS to the website. I will cover those later, but for now, let's start off with linking files. Okay, so there's more that we can do. There is so much more we can do with CSS, but I just wanted to cover the basics for this video. If you thought this was helpful, please leave a like and subscribe, and there will be much more CSS and HTML to learn.